Alright.
Hello, man.
Melina. What'd you get for number 1?
I feel that it translates
Down 5 units. Raise your hand if you got that. It's okay if you go in circle, right? This is the parent function. I don't know. Maybe you don't have a highlighter, just put a box around it. And then you just circle really what's not there. Does that make sense? Alright, thanks. Number 3, Daphne. So if you're having trouble with this one, you can put it as x minus -2 squared plus 4, and then your form is y equals x minus h squared plus k. And then if you recognize that the formula has a minus sign, then your h value is -2. And that's left 2, as Daphne said, up 4. So this one had a double. Raise your hand if you got that. Nice.
We got it right.
Number 5, Mariana. So we got to pick a different function because the original one's f. So you can do g of x.
Yeah. Squared of x minus 2.
For number 5?
Yeah.
You said minus what? We're going up 4 units.
What?
Is the plus 4 inside the square root or outside?
Outside.
It would be outside. Okay. Number 7, Regina.
G of x equals negative left one.
G of x equals what?
Negative. I don't know the square root of x.
So you want to put the negative on the outside. Okay? How I see it is if you put the negative on the outside, it's the x-axis, and we put the negative in the inside for the y-axis. Raise your hand if you got that one. Jennifer C, number 9. Good. Question.
So I've been writing it with the fx tool. We just still accept the answer. Do you want us to write out the square?
Yeah, so someone asked, can I write the f of x? Totally fine. So if you did something like this one, g of x equals f of x plus 4, that would be fine. Or in this one, you can have written f of negative x. Something like that. Okay? Alright, let's go to this. Number 2, our special winner is Jocelyn. What did you write for number 2? Right or shifted. Can be really fancy. What kind of shift is it? Vertical or horizontal? Super fancy for trig, they'll call that a phase shift. So a horizontal shift, right 3 units. Raise your hand if you got that. 3 unit, right 3 units.
How do you know it's horizontal?
Because this number, good question, the number, the parent graph is x squared. This 3 here is in the inside. If it's on the inside, that'll be a horizontal shift. Okay? Thank you, Jocelyn. Sasso, number 4.
Reflected by the x-axis.
See the negative sign, so reflected over the x-axis. That is correct. So pay attention to where that negative sign is, okay? Number 6. Vanessa.
F of x equals
I think I know where you're going. You gotta change the function name.
G of x
G of x.
equals
Uh-huh.
square root of x plus 2.
Another way you can also write, that's correct. Another way you can write that is, someone said, how can you write that with function notation? You're basically just moving it 2 units. So either of those would be acceptable. Okay? Number 8. Caesar. Remember, you gotta change the name. G of x equals the negative of what? Square root of x would have been fine, or you can also have written the opposite of f of x, because those are the same. Yes? Okay. All right. Number 10. We have a graph here. It says, given the graph of f of x shown to the right, match each of the following functions with their graphs. Theo, I have a question for you. It has the negative sign inside. It's going to be reflected over the x or the y-axis? Y-axis is correct. Okay? So here's the y-axis. If I put my mirror, let's see if I can do this. If it works, just say, oh. I didn't. Which graph is that going to be, Theo? D. And Lillian. What does that symbol mean here? Number 12? Means the inverse. Okay, let's see if you got it. Inverse means that you should have reflected it over y equals x. Raise your hand if you did that. Good job. We talked about how the inverse is a reflection over y equals x. Okay? What does that tell you? Remember, you can kind of replace the x with the y with the x. Yes? And if I just reflect it over, let's see. I'm trying. Which graph? A is correct. Guys, look, it's kind of like, it's really close, you just over it. It's going further away, further away. Does that make sense? Close, close, further away. So that would be better choice A. Alright, question number 11. You're given this graph, f of x shown to the right, and we're supposed to match it. In question number 11, you see the negative is on the outside. This basically means to reflect it over the x-axis. So how do you get that graph over? Well, kind of just think, if this is kind of far, put a point, this color here, then you realize it's getting closer, and then it just switches. And so that graph there is graph B. So number 11 is choice B is your answer. Number 13 says, y equals x to the third, write an equation for the function given each of the following transformations. The word reflected over y equals x basically tells us to take the inverse. Now you're used to something that looks like this. F of x equals x to the third. And then we would replace f of x with what letter? Y. Well, they already did that for us. What do you do next? You switch the x's and y's. So you have x equals y to the third. Someone said, how do you get rid of that 3? Well, if it was a 2, you would do what? You would take the square root, so this one they call it a cube root. You have to put that little 3 there. Okay? So our answer is y equals the cube root with the little 3 there, x. Okay? And if you wanted to make it really fancy, then we replace the y with the inverse of x. So this is our answer. Raise your hand if you got that. Good job. Alright, let's look at the second one. The second one says reflected over the x-axis. Okay, let's just ask a simple question. Think in your head. Is the notation going to be in the inside of the parentheses or outside? Don't say anything. Partner B, whisper to partner A. On the count of 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. Outside. Okay. So you can write something like this: g of x equals the negative x to the third. So reflected over the x-axis, it's on the outside, okay? So that's an x. G of x equals negative x to the third. Raise your hand if you got that. Good. Let's try this next one up here. Describe how the graph of y equals the square root of x can be transformed to the graph of the given equation. So I'm going to circle the word describe. Describe just means words. Okay? So I see the negative on the outside. We just did that one. What's happening there, class? Let's write that. Reflected over which axis? X axis. Okay? Okay. Number 19 has 2 transformations. I notice that one of them is in the inside and the other one is on the outside. Talk to your partner in 20 seconds. Class, the one on the outside is 5 what? 5 units. And this one here is moved where? Shifted right 3 units. Have a great day. Alright, question number 14. Given y equals x cubed, there's your parent function, right? A equation for the function given each of the following transformations. So I'm going to write this. Y equals x cubed. It's asking you to reflect it over the y-axis. Class, are you going to put a negative on the outside or on the inside? Inside. So you have y equals something like this, negative x to the third power. And if you simplify that, negative x times negative x times negative x, what do you get? let's call it a different function. Let's call it g of x equals negative x to the third power. And that's our answer. We skipped question 16. Let's go to 18. Describe is words, how the graph of y equals the square root of x can be transformed to the given equation. So class, I noticed the negative sign is on the inside. What does that mean? Reflected over the y-axis. So what we've been doing for the past 2 days is that you don't need to graph it, and you want to observe the characteristics of what's happening. And if you need to, you can draw a quick sketch. Last resort, turn to your calculator. Number 20 has 2 things going on. Class, what does this negative 7 do on the outside? Shift down. How many units? 7 units. Okay. Don't say anything. I'm going to make a statement, and then I'll ask you for your thumbs. This one says that you're moving to the right 2 units. Show me with your thumbs. It's not down, it's what? Shift left 2 units. I'll tell you 2 reasons why. The cheesy trick is add to x, go west, which is which direction? Okay, that's the trick. The correct way of doing that is just finding your x-intercepts. To find an x-intercept, you're just making your y value 0. You can just make that 0 and then solve for it, and you realize that the graph is just being pushed over to the left 2 units. Alright, so in this question, number 21, given the graph of f of x to the right, here it is, match each function below than appropriate. So here's my function. Looks to be odd degree, looks cubic. And I put that pink dot there because that might be something where you wish we could just kind of move it around. For 21, you'll see that the numbers are on the inside there. If it's on the inside, that's a horizontal translation. This positive 2, I'm going to make an x minus negative 2. And the reason why I do that is because in the formula it has x minus h. And when I circle it, then you're not including the negative sign. Your h value is a negative 2. And I think you were given some kind of formula where h is less than 0, you move it to the left. Okay. This also reviews my silly phrase, add to x, go west, left. So here I'm adding to x. You're going to go left 2 units. That would be choice D. Because you'll notice that that point I kind of picked is kind of just being pushed over there. See, going from pushed over to this graph. 22 has f of the function x minus 2. So you see the minus 2 inside. Well, if you're not going adding to x, so it's not adding, it's subtracting, so you're not going left, you're going right. The answer is right 2 units. So here, this one's going right from that pink dot, right? So the pink dot was here, the pink dot was right there. That might help you recognize where it's going. Question number 23. Notice you have the function, but plus 2. It's on the outside here to the right. This is my silly phrase, add to y. So if your function's name was simple, y equals something plus 2, you're adding to y there. That means going high or up. That would be choice B. And the last one has the function of minus 2. The minus 2 is on the outside. To the right, that means you're going down 2 units. That would be choice C. Graph is being pushed down. Question number 25. Given the graph of f of x to the right, so here is our parent function. what's going to happen if you have a 2 on the inside. The 2 there, in our graph is going to horizontally compress it. So if you took this graph and you squeeze it, because of the value that is greater than 2, it's actually going to squeeze it. You have more things that are happening inside that function. All right, there's more energy happening. Okay, more things are going on, so that would be graph C. So this is graph C. My answer is here in B. Question number 26. When it has 0.5, so that's a number less than 1, your graph's going to be stretched out horizontally. So that would be graph B. Notice how this one has kind of pulled out. So if I could pull that out, that's what it's going to look like. 27. It has the 2 on the outside there. The 2 on the outside is going to stretch that vertically. So that would be choice D. You can also think of that A value as the amplitude, amps, going up, more energy, rock music, volume on high on your phone. And the last one with a 0.5 or a fraction 1/2 that is less than 0. So if I have your energy or amplitude, like maybe first period or 0 period class, you're just going to squeeze that energy out. You're just very tired, too early in the morning, and this will be graph